Hello, Tiny V. How are you? How's everybody doing? Hopefully, there's having a good evening. Just wanted to come on and say hi real quick, see who shows up. Um, right now, I've been going through a stage of having the comments turned off because people come here to speak speak their rhetoric and their madness. If anyone has questions about this, please inbox me. I'll respond when I get off the live. So if you have questions or you need any kind of spiritual work, let me know. Hey, what's up, Alan Eyes? Thank you for being here. Everyone, thank you for joining. Again, anyone that has questions about this spiritual practice, you can go ahead and inbox me. Again, the reason I don't have this chat open is because I got a lot of people that come through and they speak madness, they talk shit, they do the Bible thumping, or they're just very rude. People don't understand this kind of spiritual practice. So, for the most part, I haven't had that kind of dialogue with people as of a few months because I get tired of defending my I guess my position in spiritual, the spiritual practice. So again, when people come here, it's because they want to hear, listen, and if you have questions, you guys can inbox me. Again, any question you may have, you can inbox me. We can open dialogue like that. I just find it very interesting that people that are very um supposedly open-minded when it comes to a lot of spirituality or whatever, they have a hard time with what I do. And I think that tolerance is the first thing that should be learned when you're spiritual. Tolerance is the key to having a life that is not so full of drama, headache, heartache. Tolerance should be something that you learn. It should be one of the first things you learn on your step towards spiritual awakening. And that's usually the last thing people learn. I've seen people that claim to be very religious or very spiritual, yet criticize everyone heavily. Everyone so heavily that, they don't seem spiritual at all. So that being said, if you practice any kind of spiritual, avenue, let it be religion, let it be, offshoot spirituality or personalized spirituality, the first thing you should pick up on is just acceptance and tolerance. There's lots of people that I've met throughout my years that are very heavily inspired by Catholicism, Christianity, and all these different mainstream religions, but they lack the discipline of tolerance and acceptance. So thank you so much, Gemini. How are you? How are you? Long time no see. I haven't been opening up my chat because I get a lot of people come through and I just get aggravated. Um, these last few weeks, I've been going through a process of renewal, and I think a lot of people have been going through that process. There's been a strong energy of renewal and sort of some kind of awakening, but you have to be open to the truths that are being spoken. There's lots of people that have great intuition. They got great intuition, but they lack the ability to sort of um, submit to the process. And again, that's another thing that you should learn to practice if you're spiritual. If you want to be religious, you got to submit to the signs. You got to submit to the process. You got to submit to the signs that you're being shown. We can't just accept the things that we want to accept. Like when people ask for clarity, when people ask for clarity and they get clarity, but they don't like what they're being shown. That's a problem. People ask for clarity. People ask for signs. People ask for roads to be opened. But when things happen and the things that are in your way get removed, or you give in clarity, you don't like what you see or what you feel, and you negate that progress because it's not comfortable. It's unfamiliar, and for the most part, people like familiarity. They want to be in a spot that feels familiar. And that's not growth. You can't grow that way. You can't grow that way. And in no way is that healthy to stay in the same lane when you need to step out of it. So when you ask for clarity, when you pray to God, when you pray to Santa Muerte, when you pray to any cosmic deity or any religious sect, and you ask for specific things like clarity, for your roads to be open, for things to get better, and things change, and you don't like that change, and you don't like what's being shown to you, what's the point of asking for clarity and road openings if you don't accept the changes that are being given to you? We all make the mistake of becoming complacent in those stages in life that we are currently in. People might stay in broken relationships, abusive relationships, because it's familiar, because it's something you know and understand. But the sooner you can sort of relinquish this, the sooner you can heal and move towards what is meant for you. And people have a strong, 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 strong intuition to always stay where they're at because it feels familiar. It feels very much where you belong. But that's just fear keeping you small. That's fear keeping you in the same lane. That's fear not letting you grow. And over the last 5-10 years that I've been talking to people about this, you know, being complacent never helped nobody. You can't better your life. You can't better your situation. You can't grow in abundance. You can't sort of be in a better relationship if you are still stuck in the same patterns and you refuse to sort of step out of that pattern. I am a person that helps people, right? But I've sort of got turned off a lot by talking to certain people because they don't understand the process. People call me and ask me for abundance. They ask for love. They ask for things to be removed, but they don't want to do the work that sustains it. If you ask for abundance, it's going to involve you maybe getting up earlier and going to work. If you ask for true love, it might require for you to leave your current bad situation, and people don't want to do that. People ask for, wealth, but don't want to work. They ask for love, but don't want to change. They ask for health, but continue in their bad habits. It's just sort of a battle that is hard to fight when you're the only one vested in the fight. So I'll say this. There's people that I've grown to admire and love through finding them here on TikTok and other avenues. But for the most part, a lot of people seem to have a misconception about what spiritual work actually is. It involves prayer, it involves action, it involves putting everything together and moving forward. Hocus pocus is the way people want it to be, like abracadabra, boom, boom, bing. Let's do this, right? But anything that you do spiritually will require some kind of work from you, some kind of effort from you, some kind of overall dedication to want to better yourself. And that's okay to be scared sometimes when things start to change. But when you ask for change, you must welcome the progress and the process and the actual work that will be, asked of you. It's simple. Anyways, I'm getting too preachy, so I'm gonna get off that shit. Right now, I did a prayer earlier for the souls that were lost in Mexico on the 22nd. I feel very very at odds about that whole situation. I don't like to pass judgment on nobody. It is not for us to decide who is guilty, who was wrong, who was right. May all the souls that were lost on the 22nd, may they reach heaven. May they reach judgment. May they reach their final judgment. The 25 soldiers that lost their life in that operation, may they rest in peace and find salvation. May the 8 men that were on the opposite side do the same. May they find salvation, because we're not executioners and judges in this world. Only God could judge each individual's actions. And when they meet judgment, I pray for all their souls. I pray for everyone that has succumbed to violence, to disease, to old age. I pray for everyone the same, that they reach that final judgment and they're able to meet the requirements for eternal salvation. There's no hate here. There's no judgment. Again, like, I know there's people that are at odds with the law enforcement in Mexico. You know, there's people that are at odds with the cartel members. Each of those two groups find themselves at opposite ends through actions and circumstance. But I'm gonna say this: some cartel members, they do acts of kindness for the community. They may be horrific, let's say on paper, but they do great acts of humanity towards the people that they are around in their hometowns. I've seen and I've heard of them paying for medical bills. They pay for people's surgeries. They pay for their houses. So no matter what you may think about these individuals, they everyone has probably committed act of kindnesses here. So if those men that were gunned down owe anything, it ain't to us. That's something they have to respond to in their judgment. But I same thing with the soldiers that were cut down, 25 souls taken doing their duty. And I'm not here to judge anyone. I try to stay as neutral as possible, because us children of death are supposed to be neutral. We're not supposed to cast judgment one way or the other. Both of the sides that were in this sort of catastrophe were set in motion a long time ago. Like, again, we can't sit here and condemn a man that came from nothing and became a kingpin, because that's all he knew. Hey, what's up, David? That's all he knew, and he knew no other way. So we can't judge. And again, these men that are just here, bro, trying to still get better. I've been trying to get, yeah, rest in peace, El Mencho, Señor de los Gallos. Again, we can't judge their actions, because I know some of these men, they do great acts of kindness. They may do atrocity, but they commit great acts of kindness. So some of the people, they get their medicine because of them. They get their surgeries because of them. They get their food because of these men. So for every misdeed that they committed, they probably committed a good deed. So at the end of the day, it is not for us to pass judgment. And I can't stand people that might talk shit about El Señor de los Gallos, or even the federales that lost their lives. Each individual was set into this path a long time ago, and each one died for their convictions. And I respect both sides of it. Each one of these individuals died for their convictions, from the kingpin to his people, they got a duality, bro. People can't understand sometimes that some things are so diverse that we can't easily judge. Speaking from facts, we've all done something wrong for the greater good. So again, each one of these individuals was set on a path, and they both thought they were doing what was right for them, for their path, for their journey to come from poverty and come from nothing and achieve the status of international kingpin. Although it seems wrong, that was the only life this individual knew. And through this wrong, you know, road, I know these individuals have done countless acts of kindness, given away food during the holidays, paid for mortgages, medicine, surgeries. I'm not saying they're saints, but I'm saying there's a balance. You know, I know they committed every individual that has walked the path of criminality. We I'm gonna say it, we do it for a reason. Because we want to help our families, because we want to help ourselves. We don't want to be broke forever. We don't like to be fucking starving. So I understand that sort of mentality because I've been there. I'm not gonna lie. I've been there. I can't lie. I've been on the other side of the law. I've been a criminal. I've been all those things. And it wasn't meant to be, a monster. Exactly, bro. David, you can't say it better than that. David knows monsters who got bigger hearts than most perpetrators outwardly. There's people that fake the funk, and there's people that look like me or David that will give their shirts off their back for people. They will fucking, give them the last morsel of food so they can fucking eat. So again, you can't judge prematurely. And again, may El Señor de los Gallos and his men rest in peace. And may those 25 men that lost their life rest in peace. And may bloodshed cease. This is what I'm praying for. I'm praying for someone to take the reins of that organization that is going to bring peace and stability. Because when you cut off the main head, there's a power struggle that happens. So that's going to be more bloodshed. And that is something that hopefully doesn't happen. I hope somebody assumes power in that organization that'll bring stability and peace and understanding and not look for vengeance. You know, this man had a worldwide organization and he had it under control. And there was bloodshed, but it was not going to be as bad. Yeah, things are going to get worse, Azael. When they take out a man like this, it creates a power vacuum where everyone wants to take the reins and not every man is fit to take them. And some men will take it by through force, through violence, and become more bloody in the process. So this man, no matter what you may think of him, he had people under control and regulated and acting sort of all right. Without this man, we're going to see that there's going to be a power struggle. And that's going to be where a lot of damage happens. So I pray to God, I pray to Santa Muerte that a leader rises from this debacle and assumes control and puts an end to any sort of future violence or let's say outbursts against the general public. The actions of those men were not on the order of their boss. Their boss had been already deceased. It was just an outcry or acting up because fuck it, now what? But hopefully I have no skin in the game. I have no bear, no dog in the fight. But I hope that someone assumes that role where violence ceases to exist immediately, where someone assumes the reins without causing any further bloodshed. That would be the ideal outcome. But I know there's men that are power hungry and will want to assume the reins, and they're not going to give it up that easy. But hopefully, cooler heads prevail. Hopefully, men can come to an agreement and not commit more acts of violence against the towns and the people they say they protect. Because these cartels, they say they protect their towns and their cities. So hopefully they do. And they don't commit acts of violence against the general public. And if those men are men of their word, hopefully they just can figure out who will take the reins of this organization without any further bloodshed. And, I understand the nature of the beast. There's going to be people that want that power. But again, that power comes with a great responsibility and a fucking big target on your back. So, those men that are up for that fucking promotion, be careful. But for the individual or individuals that assume that control, may they be protected, because it's going to be an evil that exists anyway.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For help, go to the Alexa app.
It's going to be an evil that exists anyway. So hopefully men of good nature and discernment assume the control and are better equipped moving forward to not commit these egregious acts of violence against civilians. And again, I'll say this again, may those souls lost in that, confrontation, all of them on both sides. We're speaking about neutrality. As children of death, we're not here to judge. We're not here to condemn. We are here to witness and pray for a better outcome. So may both sides bury their dead, mourn them, and heal from their pain. May they both sides, fill that gap that is left behind. Young mothers, young wives, young sons, young daughters, all these people that are affected by this tragedy, from the civilians that lost cars, businesses, may they all find refuge in God's presence and the protection in Santa Muerte. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to say too much, because my ass don't want to become a target. You know what I'm saying? But again, may those soldiers from the Mexican soil all come to rest, and may they find salvation. And may those other men that died with El Señor de los Gallos, may they also find salvation. May their souls be at peace. And here's the thing is, I'm stupid, but they went out like men. They went out like men, and God forgive them for their actions. But they went out like men, and they went out like, people that were convinced of the path they've taken. Hopefully there's no regrets on either side. And again, they went out on their shield. And there's something stupidly beautiful in my eyes about that. And I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds dumb, but I mean, it's almost fucking poetic. You know what I'm saying, David? You know what I mean, right, bro? I'm not promoting this kind of, violence. I'm not. But there's something beautiful in that kind of sort of, it's almost poetic. It's a dance that, if you understand this kind of lifestyle, is like, man, they went out on their shield. They went out con corazón, as they say. So, yes, they defended what they believed in. Both sides were not wrong. Both sides were not right. It's complicated, because until you live poverty in that fashion, or have been, strucken down by these people, it's one of those double-sided things where no one's wrong, no one's right. Because at the end of the day, people want to eat. And this comes down to a failure of the Mexican government, because people see refuge in organized crime because there's money to be made. You could feed your family being in organized crime in Mexico. You can buy a house, you can buy a car, you can sort of feed your elderly parents, pay for their medicines and doctors through these actions. So how wrong are they? If you are starving and you steal a loaf of bread, you're not wrong. You did it to survive. So may these men rest in peace, because I know deep down the reasoning was not just malicious. It wasn't. And these men that fought these other men died with their convictions. And that's fucking beautiful. I know it sounds fucking stupid, and I know it sounds wrong, but if you understand the nature of the beast, it's very poetic. And I can't explain that there's a deep sadness for what happened, but there's also a deep respect for the huevos. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm right or wrong for saying this, but the conviction to lay down your life for a cause. Pick your cause. You could be on the left or the right, but to die with your convictions is I mean, it's almost poetic. And these people were fighting against poverty. These people were fighting against crime. I can't pick or choose who's right or who's wrong. And maybe I'm confused about it. That's the way to go. And again, like, I've committed crime because I wanted to not, be broke in my adolescence and shit. I've committed crimes because, it seemed like it was the thing that I had to do to survive. And again, that's where the line blurs, because until you're in that position, you don't quite understand the gravity of it. And again, neither side is wrong. And again, if I'm wrong, right, David? We've talked about this. Sometimes going back to that shit seems fucking natural, but it's not right. Once we know what's right and wrong, then we have to place discernment into it. Bro, it's generational. You nailed it. There's fathers, grandfathers, grandsons, great grandsons that run in that sort of lineage. And that's almost like it's like being, you know, sheep herders or being fucking farmers. It's the life they know. They know no other way. So I wish that they would diversify, buy real estate, and do it like the Jews did. The Jewish people in American mobs days, they built wealth through gangster activities, but then they went legit. They figured it out. So I hope that these men come to a realization that maybe they start to sort of, the next generations, keep them out of that shit and diversify into some holdings or whatever the fuck, and just sort of try to step away from it. But there'll always be that kind of, as long as there's people trying to push shit up their nose, in their mouth or in their vein, there will always be that kind of business. And here's the thing, I might go way off the rocker, but when does self-discipline play a part in this? When does accountability play in the part of this? If people stop consuming, there wouldn't be this major problem, right? But it's a bitch. It's a never-ending cycle. So again, my heart goes out to both sides of this equation, but I hope that there's not a power struggle for supremacy inside of that cartel, because that is going to lead to some major implications that might affect the pueblos and those homes in a very negative fashion. So I pray to God and Santa Muerte that a leader rises that is centered, that has the maturity to lead and bring these people together without further bloodshed. That's all you can ask for. And maybe come to some kind of agreement with the American and Mexican government that, look, we'll do this much, we won't do all that, but we'll keep it safe. That's the best scenario. That's the best fucking scenario. It's gonna happen anyways. Let's get someone in there that can sort of lead without violence and lead without bloodshed and bring these people together, that is not gonna continue to fucking, and maybe I'm saying too much. So maybe I should shut the fuck up, because people have been killed for less. Go for it, bro. Let's go. I'll be your second in command, homie. Um, but again, real shit, that's what Mexico needs right now. And here's the thing is, I know that in hunting down a man like El Mencho, it seems like a noble thing to do and the right thing to do, but god dang it, that fool had this shit under control. He had people in check, and there had to be a balance and there was accountability. Right now, with the power struggle that is to come, it could get very bad before it gets better. So praying for Mexico and praying for those small towns in Guadalajara, Michoacan, Jalisco, fucking, Tijuana, Ensenada, all these places, Guerrero, all these places have been experiencing major uprises and violence because people are going to try to assume control. Does it? Does what? What do you mean, Laura, Elaine? Again, I'm just hoping for a good outcome. I don't want people to continue to suffer because of a power struggle or the power struggle that's going to come. Again, this motherfucker had it in check. Like he had people in control. Is it noble? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's a I say that it's a very like here's the thing is I come from a long line of people from a certain part of Mexico that it is considered heroic to go out in a blaze of glory. No, I'm saying that when they cut off this major, head of this organization, it's going to cause turmoil. And I hope somebody steps up, a leader emerges that can stop the bloodshed before it starts. I hope they could get behind an individual where there won't be a power struggle. So whoever I'm praying that somebody steps into that leader position without further violence because this could fracture into 3 or 4 major cartels that will then start bloodshed. It wasn't necessary. I think that they were better off with having one head instead of breaking now. There's going to be 4 dragons trying to consume each other. So right now, there's 3 or 4 individuals that might feel that they are the successors because nobody was named by name by this individual because his life was cut off. So now we might have created, or the Mexican government might have created four major problems that are going to contend for the throne. So I hope cooler heads prevail. I hope one individual rises to the top without bloodshed, assumes responsibility, everyone gets respect, and everything's all good. Well, he was not that old. He was 59, and his son's already in jail. I know he has godsons. He has people that were already positioning for this role. But even if he selected somebody, there'll be other people that are gonna fucking contest it. Even if he had a handpicked successor right now, because this was so abrupt, somebody might contest it regardless. So that's where the problem lies. It wasn't bothering anyone directly. It's just the nature of the beast. Again, there's chain of command, but once you get into it, you can contest it. There'll be men that feel that they are due. There'll be men that feel that they are next. And I know there's 4 individuals right now under his command that will feel strongly about them being his successor. There's 4 men under him that feel that they are right now the chosen, and they have to come to an agreement. Hopefully they come to an agreement and elevate one individual so there's no bloodshed. That's all I'm hoping for. Anyways, I've said too much. I better shut the fuck up. My voice is already getting fucked up, so I'm gonna get off this live. But again, I pray for the souls of the soldiers. I pray for the souls of the men falling on the other side. They both died for their convictions. They both died thinking that they were, you know what I'm saying, doing their duty. So may they rest in peace. God has the final judgment. God has the final say. And we are nothing. We are no one to try to pass judgment on anybody. Because there'll be those individuals that say this, those federales got what they deserved. That's not right. There'll be other individuals say, oh, those cartel members got what they deserved. That's not right either. Because both sides thought they were doing the right thing for their cause. It's complicated. So that's all I gotta say. It's no different than oil. And to be honest, this shit's probably more lucrative. This motherfucker, El Mencho, had more deliveries than fucking Amazon probably. This fool was in all continents. His organization was in all, they probably had more money than Amazon. More packages delivered than Amazon. This was an infrastructure that people will probably fucking kill for it. So it's a very scary time if they don't, for Mexico, if they don't come into an agreement on who's going to take responsibility and assume power in that organization. So hopefully, God willing, with the help of God and Santa Muerte, may they find agreement and elevate one individual to continue his organization without bloodshed and without destroying any other homes, cars, businesses. And these cartels, if they're true to their word, they protect their cities. They protect those people that live within their holdings. So let's get that back to the way it was. Que Dios los proteja a todos, que mantenga al Señor de los Gallos y a sus guerreros en eternidad bajo Dios y la Santa Muerte que los proteja. Los soldados que perdieron la vida haciendo lo que ellos sentían que era su deber, que Dios los reciba y los entregue a la eternidad y que los mantenga firmes y fieles con su familia. Es todo lo que voy a decir. Que todos los que se perdieron la vida en ese combate o en las ciudades, que descansen y que ojalá no hagan ninguna otra muerte o acto de violencia por asumir el control de esa organización. Que Dios los cuide a todos, que la Santa Muerte proteja a los que tienen que proteger y que encuentren paz más rápido para que haya más solidaridad en ese país. ¿Verdad? Bueno, he dicho más. Ojalá que comprendan que esas palabras no son para ofender ni aquí ni allá, ni a ellos ni a otros, pero son para, ojalá, salga algo rápido para que no haya más pérdida de vida.